It's the KSR happy hour. We're not too happy today because we just watched the Cats lose in Nashville at the SEC tournament, but we're still happy to be hanging out with you, talking a little ball while the crew down in Nashville is grinding away. I'm Nick Roush, that's Adam Luckett, and he's Jacob Polachek from KSR Plus, and I'm enjoying Old Country Boy Brew. Country Boy Brew. They hook us up. They make the happy hour possible. We love Country Boy Brew. You got the original tap room that's right down the street from KS Bar. You can check them out there. There's also the huge facility out in Georgetown. And Luckett, we don't venture over to that part of town much, but we were driving by the peanut butter factory and we saw the enormous pickleball facility. That place looks awesome.
Yeah, shout out Jif, best peanut butter in the world. But yeah, looked like a nice little facility over there where you could go have some cold pops. I'm sure no good times were had over there, Nick Roush.
Oh, yeah, because I would like to think, too, that if you're a little frustrated by watching this Kentucky basketball team just not make shots, you go over there, you swing your pickleball paddle, but you pound a couple of country boys. It's delicious. There's going to be a lot of country boys consumed during March Madness, especially if Kentucky shoots the way they did today. Jacob, what was your favorite missed shot today? Because there was a lot of them. Do you have a personal favorite?
Oh, that's hard. There were so many of them. Whatever one that Kentucky actually rebounded, because watching this team try and get a defensive rebound was immensely frustrating. And I get it. Like, Florida's front court is really, really good. But yeah, I mean, it was ugly to watch, and the missed shots were going up, and Florida was getting every single rebound.
I mean, look at Kentucky shot 35%. It felt like they were shooting 10% there for a while. I mean, Florida went 9 minutes without making a shot, and it was still a double-digit lead the entire time. This game started at 1. We are going live at 3:35. It was a ugly, ugly basketball game, and it just sucks because Florida, they did not play like normal Florida. That's kind of what I was hoping, right? That you would get these teams that haven't played yet. It takes them a while to get their engines revved up in the conference tournament. The issue is that Kentucky, they couldn't take advantage of that. They went on that 10-0 run to tie the game at 20, and then I think they went like 10 minutes without hitting a shot or something like that. It was a game of just bad, long stretches of bad basketball.
Yeah, Nick, they made 17 threes over 3 games. Brandon Garrison and Mo Diabate had 4 of those. So they got the 4 extra. Like, those are just extra to me. Like, that's a little extra on the side, but they just could not find the 3. To me, like, a big story of this is that they just can't shoot in that gym. Like, at the end of the day, they played 4 games in that gym, 7 of 34, 6 of 22, 6 of 21, 5 of 21. You counting the Gonzaga game, never shot higher than 28.6%. We're somewhere between 21% and 29% in 4 games. End up shooting on 98 attempts, 24.5% from 3 over 4 games. They can't shoot in that gym. So I don't know what that was. I think Mark Pope made a decision today. I think they decided we're not doing the pace thing with Florida again. We've done it twice. Didn't work. We had one of our best shooting games down there in Gainesville, and we really couldn't play with them. We're just not doing it again. So we're going to slow it down and try to play in the half court. And I think in a weird way, it kind of worked because I think it caught Florida off guard. And I think offensively, Florida was felt like Kentucky was kind of making them play left-handed most of the game. They were having to go through Condon, who's not really who they want to go through. Their guards could never really get involved because they weren't getting out in transition, in my opinion. Hal didn't have one of his best games, but I thought Kentucky had a good plan for him. So I think that worked in a sense. All you needed was, man, if you could go 8 for 21 from 3 in this game, 9 of 23, you probably win. But they could not throw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
And that ultimately was why they lost today. I think weirdly you can look at it. No one's played Florida better than Kentucky in the SEC this year, really, since they got going. Since they got going. No one's really been able to even have it where a game is a 5-point game, what with 3 minutes left or whatever it was. But Kentucky could not throw the ball in the ocean. They cannot shoot in that gym this year. I don't know if Stephen Peake's going to come out with The ball had too much air pressure or whatnot, or whatever the reason.
Inflategate. Yeah.
They're not shooting this gym. It's why they couldn't blow out LSU. It's why they could not blow out Missouri. I think overall, I come away like I thought Kentucky played well over 3 days. They just, and defensively, these last 2 games, I think were 2 of their better defensive performances of the season, but they could not shoot. And they're going to have to shoot better to advance in the tournament next week. That was overall my bigger takeaway is they just could not figure out shooting in that gym for whatever reason.
Kentucky made 5 threes. Aberdeen had 2 of them in the final 4 minutes, scored 10 of his 17 points. Kentucky, it was like pulling teeth getting offense, and they went on a quick 8-0 run within a minute to leave that back door open, get the backdoor cover if you had the Cats plus 11.5. Jacob, I know I'm not really a basketball Benny, but I've been told that basketball is a shot-making game. Can you confirm that making shots is important in basketball?
Yes.
What do your sources say?
They're very important. And, I mean, you bring in a lot of guys that are meant to shoot. I mean, Trent Noah, 0 for 2 from 3.
Wide open.
1 for 3 from 3. Jasper Johnson, 0 for 2 from 3. So your guys that were brought in really to shoot the ball are not hitting threes. So, I mean, yeah, Aberdeen, he hit a couple late. Those didn't really matter that much. But when your guys that you brought in specifically to shoot aren't making them, then you're in trouble.
I do think
also,
like it. Yeah,
Nick, not to cut you off. Ortega, 5 of 18.
Yeah.
10
points, 18 shots.
It's going to be hard for this team to win and beat any good team, any team that's any team that's good enough to advance to the round of 32. They're going to have a hard time beating anybody if that's the kind of scoring efficiency they're getting from their best player.
The part that I thought you pointed out, Lucky, that I agree with you with. They brought the physicality defensively early on. Florida has some mismatches. They just do, particularly in the paint. I mean, Moreno is a solid SEC center, but he just looks it's like a different game when he's going up against this crew of interior guys. The issue was offensively, it didn't look like they were ready for the contact. There was a lot of early turnovers. I think they had 3 in their first 7 possessions, and that's you thought the game was going to get away from them. But credit to Kentucky. I kind of, generally speaking, I'm not doing moral victory happy hour talk here. I haven't had enough of these country boys yet. But generally speaking, like Florida is one of the 5 best teams in college basketball. I think they've done enough to avoid one of the 5 best teams in college basketball for at least the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. And if you stay in the fight for 40 minutes and can grind your way out while not playing your best ball, like I kind of got to tip my cap to you. And the other part, like Jacob, I'm not too bummed that they miss out on this because there's just no way I would have any faith that Kentucky could win a 4th game in 4 days. Like this was we don't say the F word anymore, but this was going to take a lot of gas out of the tank. And I could, especially if Tennessee wins this next one, it would have just pissed me off that we would have had to watch Tennessee get one over on them tomorrow at Bridgestone.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a blessing in disguise there where you get your rest. Now you can just prepare for the NCAA tournament. When I look at this team, I think there's a lot of teams that they can beat in the field, but it does feel like their ceiling is capped a little bit. They just don't really have that top-end talent that you expected. Obviously, Ortega is really good, but he has to do a lot. Aberdeen's asked to do a lot. If you had a guy like Jaden Quaintance in there, that would make a big impact. So I feel like they can go out and make a Sweet 16 potentially, but if they run into one of those 1 or 2 seeds, they could be in real trouble.
Yeah, matchups is a big thing. Like any team that has like a profile to Alabama, it's been a good season because those are the kind of teams that Hope struggled with. But it depends on matchups. They're going to be a 7, I think. I'd be pretty surprised if they're a 6 at this point. I think they'll be a 7. It's just you're looking at like Illinois, UConn.
Could they grind it out against Houston?
maybe Houston's. It would look similar to that game. And if you think about Houston shoots a lot of mid-range twos. So in long twos. So if you get them on a bad shooting night and you pour in 10 threes, but it's going to look like that. It's going to be hard to score against that bunch. And so, yeah, I think it just depends on matchups.
We won't know the matchups until Selection Sunday. The selection show airs at 6. I don't know what the plans are. We kind of shoot from the hip throughout March Madness, but rest assured that we will have some sort of reaction on the KSR YouTube channel. That is if we have the lights on. LG and EKU, they keep the lights on for you when they go out. It can feel like a full court press, but staying in the know, it's an easy win. Update your phone number in the LG and KU mobile app or in MyCap. If power goes out, you'll get play-by-play text from 454-358 with outage updates, safety information, and time estimates for power restoration. Can't text, no problem to call the landline account with the same updates to make sure you're never left in the dark. Don't worry. With LG and KU, they got your back. They'll get you back online as quickly as possible. I can confirm that it was a very windy day in the Commonwealth, particularly in the city of Louisville. I tried doing the running thing before the game. You get some pregame nerves. You get that nervous energy. So I was like, let's get a run in. We'll feel good afterwards. And Jacob, I think I was running at like a 45-degree angle at one point. But fortunately, no limbs went down, no power outages. LG and EKU's got our back. I don't know if the Cats will have our back in the tournament because Jacob, basketball guy, me, dumb big football idiot, according to many people. Does it feel as simple as Colin Chandler has to be good for Kentucky to have a chance to do anything? I hate to synthesize into something so simple and plain, and because it's almost like when before a football game, you're like, whoever doesn't turn the ball over has got a good chance to win. It's like, well, duh, yeah, of course. But I mean, our third player has to do something, and I can't. It's impossible for me to see them do anything if he's not getting buckets. And I remember that stat that somebody pulled. I forgot what it dropped down to, but when Chandler scores 10-plus points, there I want to say before the SEC tournament, they were 8-2 against SEC.
Right.
Yeah,
3-6. I think outside I think that was the numbers.
Yeah. So what does he do? He scores 6 points today. They lose. Yesterday he scored 14. They win. Like it feels very simple. But it feels like we're putting a lot on Colin Chandler, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're gonna get a random performance like you did from Brandon Garrison the other day, a big performance from Mo Diabate, you're really counting on, at least offensively, Denzel Aberdeen, Okega Owe, and Colin Chandler. If those three are putting up points and the defense is figuring itself out, then you're in a really good spot. But that he's a big part of those three leading scorers, and when he's not shooting the ball well, when he's not creating for himself offensively, then you can really see something lacking with this Kentucky team.
They're guard short.
Yeah,
the team's they're a guard short. Chandler's come a long way, but he's on the game plan now. And it's hard for him. It's hard for them to create shots. It's also hard because their point guards over there. I guess he's not wearing a sling anymore, but he's out. Aberdeen is, he's a combo guard. He's not really, when he puts the ball on the deck, it's typically to score. It's not to create for others. To me, and I think there's a lot of frustration with Owe because, what are you doing, Owe? You're just dribbling in the crowd. I'm like, but for me, it's like, well, they gets this defense when Florida gets set. He has to create. He has to turn into a playmaker and a creator when really he's better off being kind of that secondary creator off the point guard to attack closeouts and things of that nature. So because you're guard short, then I think you kind of get in positions where you've got guys playing out of position, and I think Florida exposed that in a lot of ways today. But I think good teams can expose that because they're just a guard short. I mean, at the end of the day, and that's a lot of, I think, some of their problems. But yeah, it's become a thing where it's like, okay, if you can pencil in Owe for 20, you can pencil in Aberdeen for 15, and you can pencil in Chandler for 12. Yeah, they've got a really good chance to score enough to beat a lot of teams. It's just, but you've got a lot riding, I think, on those guys and how teams have countered them to take Chandler out. I don't know if Kentucky's figured out like the counter punch.
Yeah, they don't have one. And sometimes I want to say like just try to set them to set the defense to death to get Chandler open looks. But even when he gets them, they're not always falling. I thought Jasper did a good job in that first run in the first half of stealing some minutes to let Aberdeen get a little rest. But you didn't get as much of that as you wanted to later on. Generally speaking, I mean, I think we can all agree he hasn't been what anybody expected him to be. I get frustrated because he just wants to fade away on everything. It's like, dude, this ain't Iroquois Park, right? Like you can't just shoot the ball. Like he takes the second shot instead of the first one. There's like a second guessing there. Where you just want to see that confidence. And you know what? His best take of the day, he was confident and he had the little scoop shot. That's probably his best shot is that little scoop shot. It's just, generally speaking, the lack of creators, it's so evident. And when you can't score over people like against this team, I mean, Colin Chandler getting swatted by Condon. Was it Condon or was it Hal?
Condon.
That was whew. What's the opposite of this? Like when you try to put it on his head, but you just get swatted. That's one of the more impressive blocks I've seen. That was textbook.
Yeah, it's weird because I think Kentucky's a tough matchup for Florida, but they aren't. Like they're just good enough to not get blown out in how they play, but it's also like they can't ever get over the hump, right?
Yeah,
that's what it kind of feels like because those dunks are. At one point, I was like, "Just stop trying to dunk it," and I never say that ever in a basketball game. Like, play off 2 feet, jump, stop in the lane. Like, see if you can draw a foul or get a kick out for 3.
I mean,
trying to dunk on these guys.
Even Mo tried to dunk on somebody, and I mean, they called the foul on that one. I'm sure, Jacob. I saw in your pregame predictions, you actually predicted Mo Diabate to hit 2 threes. I thought that was an astute forecast.
Did I actually predict that? That's
yeah, but Jake, come on, just go with it. Just Jacob. Nobody called it except for Jacob Polachek of KSR. Subscribe to get great insights like that.
I predicted the whole stat line. It was great. It was only on KSR Plus though, so you got to subscribe to see it. Yeah, I mean, back to because when we were talking about Chandler, like Jasper was the first person that came to mind. Where it's like if you had a guy like Jasper at what we kind of expected Jasper to be, then you could I can't think of the word, but like you could hold off some bad Colin Chandler nights and pull through in games like this. But when you just don't have those contributions from Jasper, bad games from Colin Chandler will weigh a lot more heavily on this team.
And also not having Cam Williams for a while because you could get the random 15-point game from him where he hits 4 threes. So that hasn't helped either. But yeah, Jasper, that's a big one. That just goes with kind of, all right, everyone has to move up a level here with these injuries that are out in.
You didn't get it.
That becomes one of the weaknesses of the team, unfortunately.
I will say shout out to Mo Diabate, who did perform incredibly well down at the SEC tournament in Nashville. He had 14 points today, ended up fouling out after only 23 minutes, but he stayed aggressive when Kentucky was struggling. Also had 9 points against Missouri, 7-7 in the game against LSU. I know they talked about Ramadan Mo. Ramadan ends at sunset on Thursday, so it could be the last game of Ramadan Mo, or it all comes down to the selection committee, right? Like if they get that Thursday game, then he might be fasting for one more contest. If not, then I just shout out to that guy. Because you do all the health kick stuff where you try to fast and food easy because I'll just chug some water and then I'm full. He can't drink water. Dude. It blows my mind. Shout out to Mo Diabate for bringing the fight, staying in the fight, helping Kentucky when, he has some some clear disadvantages compared to some of his opponents. But, man, he brings the fight. He's got a lot of heart. And today he knocked out a couple of shots. The fact that his first one went in from the same spot where he missed a three by 11 feet. I mean, was that the LSU game where he missed it? I mean, by 100? I don't even – Matt called it maybe the worst missed shot in the history of basketball. And I don't think that – I really don't know if that's hyperbole. I mean, that thing was never – I mean, it was like he punted the ball. And to go back and still have the confidence to take and then make that shot and then get another one, that was fun. I think the point of frustration for just Kentucky fans is we move on from this Florida game and just after 20 minutes, because y'all are going to hear about it plenty, and then you're going to be ready to move on after you down a couple cold ones. It just sucks that in these Florida games, Kentucky led 0 minutes, and it really only felt like for maybe 5 total of game time that Kentucky was actually in it. That was that 10-0 run to tie in the first half, and then when they cut it to 5 in the final 4 minutes or whatever in the second half. Most of the game, it didn't even feel close. And I sense that part is just going to weigh on the fan base probably more than it should until we see them on the court the next time.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I love when you drop a bar. You drop a take, and everybody's like, "Oh!" And you just got to drop the mic and move on. So let's move on to the rest of the SEC tournament, the rest of the other conference tournaments. Has the Tennessee Vandy game started? Do we? Not yet. Who's going to win the SEC? Is this Florida, or does anybody have a shot at knocking them off?
I actually think Florida, Nick. We've seen Florida at Kentucky. We've seen 1 seeds at Kentucky. Typically, there's the clunker in the tournament, and then they turn it around. I think that was the clunker. They won the clunker. I think they're going to go and win this. They are a terrible matchup for Alabama, and they're a terrible matchup for Arkansas in the championship. So to me, it's this Tennessee game. It's like, if Tennessee got the game today for Florida, they would have beat Florida. Yeah. But I don't know they're going to get that 2 days in a row. I think they'll beat Tennessee, and then I think one of Arkansas, Alabama's coming out of the bottom of the bracket, and I think they're an awful, awful matchup for both those teams. So I expect them to go back-to-back here.
Will we get any upsets today, Jacob, in the quarterfinals, or is it easy street for the favorites?
Just to keep it fun, I'll say Oklahoma pulls off the upset over Arkansas. Just to have some fun in this. But, yeah, I mean, Florida's going to be just a tough team for any of these teams to beat moving forward. It's kind of a lame pick to win it all, or at least to win the SEC tournament. But they do look like perhaps the best team in the country, or one of the top 3-4 teams in the country.
But Florida, to win 6, I think you saw where they could run into trouble. Yeah. Their guards can be mid.
Oh, Boogie loves you can tell he's played for John Calipari. He loves the pull-up 8-footer.
I was just thinking today, Nick, what if they were playing Michigan State and the game was that? I think Michigan State would win that game. I could just see them. That's where they could get into real trouble, is where you just need the guards. And there were times last year where Walter Clayton just kind of bailed them out. I don't know that they have that this year. And so that I don't know that they can win. I think they're the best team entering this tournament right now, but they don't have near the top guard play. And I think that's probably going to be what prevents them from winning it all. But with that said, I expect them to win this thing in Nashville.
It would be fun to see the Hogs go down in the nightcap late night. This is the time of year where I love staying up late and kind of almost falling asleep to the sound of sneakers squeaking. I did that last night with TCU in Kansas. We had some actual Porter Moser probably coaching for his job. Do they need?
No one's hiring anybody. Jeff Capel's coming back.
That just made me so mad. What are you doing, Pitt?
$15 million buyout. How did he get a contract extension? When did that happen?
Who's his agent? He's better than Jimmy Sexton, whoever his agent is.
Is he related to the Rooneys? What is going on up there? You just Stephon up there in Pittsburgh.
They are exactly 500 after 9 years of Jeff Cable. 9
I had
years.
to Wikipedia him. I was like, wow, that guy has a $15 million buyout. Someone else got retained. Thad Matta's coming back, reportedly. Their Butler.
Yeah. The first big hire has happened. Kansas State is hiring Casey Alexander from Belmont, which I didn't realize he had been there 10 years. I thought it was a different – I confused him. I thought it was another old guy who had been coaching there forever and had all those winning seasons.
There was the guy who wore the sweater vest.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. But he's the one because he was at Lipscomb, I think, and that was a big deal because he left Lipscomb for Belmont and Nashville. I can't believe it's been that long. I guess he hasn't been that long.
10, 21 seasons there, a bastion of stability, and I think that's what Kansas State is looking for. So that's the first big hire. But yeah, I don't. JT Poston, aka Lamont Paris, South Carolina said, you know what, you got us to. Did he get a Sweet 16 run in?
No, they just made the tournament, but they won like 27 games that year, I think.
Okay.
They ended up getting blasted, I think, in the first.
That was right after just the awful year, the year before. I think he turned that around pretty quickly.
It's one of those that 1 year feels like the outlier compared to the whole resume.
That's the South Carolina basketball experience. They get the 1 year and then everything else stinks.
Well, when I turned on the UMass game at KS Bar yesterday, UMass Miami, I was with one of my buddies, and he was like, that's what Frank Martin looks like now? I mean, just was stunned. But Frank Martin got the big W over the Red Hawks.
Bald head?
Oh, he's got the bald head. And he's put on some pounds. So like he's almost more intimidating because the suits are bigger and nobody wears the big suits anymore. Frank Martin still wearing the big suits and getting it done. I didn't see and check and see if they won today, but they were in the MAC semifinals. We'll get the MAC championship tomorrow.
Alan
Do you
Edwards,
have a
assistant coach there? Former Kentucky player. Alan Edwards is a UMass. So shout out Alan Edwards.
Shout out to Alan Edwards. Yeah, I guess shout out to John Pelfrey too. He's looking for a new gig. It's funny to mention that because we were just talking the other day about Tobin Anderson, and he got hired to replace John Pelfrey, the guy who coached Fairleigh Dickinson to the win over Purdue as a 16 seed. He was Rick Pitino. He was the guy who succeeded Rick Pitino at Iona. In a program that had basically won the MAC every year for like 20 years, kind of went down the tube. He got fired from there, spent last year on USF staff. He will replace John Pelfrey at Tennessee Tech. So more coaching carousel talk for you. Do you all have you got any coaching carousel scoop, Jacob? You hearing any whispers?
Not scoop. I mean, the big one that everyone's talking about is Will Wade gonna go to LSU? I mean, the LSU job isn't open yet, I don't believe, but that one is rumored a lot.
That doesn't matter down there. They do searches before the firing.
Jacob, you want me to tell you where Will Wade's going to coach next year?
What?
You want me to tell you where Will Wade's going to coach next year?
Where's he going to be coaching next year?
Floyd Street, the University of Louisville Fighting Cardinal Birds. Hear me out.
Hear me out. Galaxy brain, come on.
So Richard Pitino is going to somehow fail up again, and they're going to hire him at Providence, despite being pretty average at Xavier. And then Xavier, we're going to get another Cincinnati school that's going to take an average Louisville coach off their hands. They're not going to pay any buyout. He's going to go home to Xavier. Pat Kelsey, see you later. And then Will Wade's going to get a strong-ass offer to go to Floyd Street. There's my Brian Windhorse conspiracy theory.
Speaking of Cincinnati, that job just opened up. I think it was maybe during the Kentucky game. That one will be a big one, I would think.
They will hire Chris Mack. It'll be Pat Kelsey. And what do they call that rivalry? I can't remember.
Crosstown rivalry.
Crosstown rivalry. There you go.
Yeah. Cincinnati is one of those schools that, just growing up, they were always a fun team to watch and hate at the same time. You kind of hated them, but it was fun that they were good. They were a fun team. I love the logo. Like, it's the one kind of early 2000s era logo that fits.
Brand before anyone else.
Yeah, the Paul Play, Kenyon Martin, physical bruiser. You all remember Tony Bobbitt? He'd come off the bench and just spray threes. They were a lot of fun. And Wes Miller, I mean, my God, the Carolina kiss asses treated Wes Miller like he was the next Dean Smith, and he goes to Cincinnati and then spends all year fighting with fans. He was incredibly disappointing. So I think when U of L, when their board sent out that big long letter about the state of college athletics, and I hate getting into the semantics of that because it's just not as fun. But the big changes in the sport have really hurt the middle class of college athletics, where you don't like Cincinnati basketball, kind of niche, but a lot of fun. I feel like the only place where that can really happen anymore is in the Big East. And I've been watching the Big East basketball tournament, and it's so much fun because they hate each other so much. Kevin Willard last night, he's got Villanova playing well enough to get back into the tournament for the first time. But Ed Cooley, everybody loves some Ed Cooley. Jacob, are you in the media bag where you have to are you connected enough to where you're obligated to say nice things about Ed Cooley?
I'm in the position of I'm not following Ed Cooley enough to even have too much of an opinion on him.
Okay, good.
Somewhat entertaining, and I mean, I remember when he made that move, and it was just a massive deal. And then I feel like you haven't heard the best things since. But I mean, talking about coaching carousel, one of the bigger moves today was not a move at all. Was Josh Schertz at St. Louis agreeing to a long-term deal.
I didn't see that.
I haven't been following that one super closely, but it kind of surprised me because I would think he would be a big name for any big job opening. So him signing a long-term deal, I was a little bit surprised by.
Yeah, I think it was 20 over 6. I think I saw. I'd be interested to see what, the buyout figure is there. Typically, I don't know how it works basketball. Football, when the group of 6 coaches get extended like that, a lot of times they'll sign that but it'll lower the buyout. That's kind of their, you scratch my back, I scratch yours with the school. So I'll be interested. I think St. Louis is a private school, so we might not even.
Right. That's correct. Yeah. SLU.
So if Louisville were to open, Nick, right? If your theory is correct, I bet Schertz would be one of their calls because he was.
Well, he was one of those last time, but he signed his contract too quick.
That's right.
Yeah. They wanted to make him an option, but they couldn't. Jacob, can you tell me what a Billiken is?
It's some sort of bird, right?
I can't. It's like a devil-looking thing, but I don't know what exactly it is.
Billiken. It sounds like a bird, but I have no idea.
According to Wikipedia,
that's like a horse racing bet. Like I'm on the Billiken.
It's a mythical.
When you wheel trifecta, double dip, and everything all in one.
Representing the thing as it ought to be. It is a mythical good luck mascot representing the thing as it ought to be.
Okay,
bring that with me to the casino.
An American art teacher and illustrator, Florence Pretz in Kansas City, saw the Billiken in her dream and wrote a poem about it, Mr. Moon, a song of the little people. In 1908, she obtained a design patent on the ornamental design of the Billiken. It's a good luck charm.
I mean, you might see it in a nightmare more than a dream.
It is just like. I wish I was adept enough at putting the videos up, but the Billiken statue on St. Louis's campus is haunting. That is terrifying. Nobody wants to look at that.
I like how they spell the name out for Saint. When anything in St. Louis, it's just ST period. But the university decides to spell out Saint. That's always been interesting to me.
St. Mary's messes with me with that.
The statue also doesn't look anything like the logo. Is that unless I'm looking at the wrong statue?
No. I think it's purposeful because the logo needs to be more easier to reproduce, and you want people to wear it. So if you made it like the statue, that would just be terrifying. Just people
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
I mean, that is I think
What is going on here? He rubbed his belly for like before exams instead of what was the thing at UK? You rubbed the old man's foot at the
yeah, Patterson's foot. Yeah, that was supposed to be good luck.
Rubbing an old man's foot, they rubbed his belly of this. It almost looks like Buddha almost.
There's also the Patterson statue. He actually stands up whenever a virgin walks by. That's the other legend. So I always
picture that one. That must have been you were hanging out on a different corner of campus than me, apparently.
Oh man, Jacob, I know Mr. Luckett. He likes to swing the sticks every once in a while. Do you play the golf at all? Do you hit the links?
I wish I played more. I like playing. I like to think I have a good swing, but I don't play as much as I should.
Well, let me tell you about the Central Kentucky Senior Men's Golf Association. They've got an organization that provides a great golf experience with tournaments throughout Central Kentucky, whether it's at Kearney, Lakeside, Juniper Hills, Weisinger Hills, Gibson Bay, Cherry Blossom, Longview, the Woodford Club. There are some of the best courses in Central Kentucky hosting tournaments that are flighted, so golfers are competing with other golfers at a similar skill level. And they also offer their members the opportunity to develop friendships with other senior golfers in the community. They're looking for new members to join us right now, ages 50 and up. So head on over to cksmga.golfgenius.com to sign up. That's cksmga.golfgenius.com. We'll be waiting for you at Central Kentucky Senior Men's Golf Association. See you soon. I've played Kearney. Have you played any of those other courses?
Weisinger, Shelby County, right off 64, links course.
Oh,
fun course, and they've got some decent rates out there too. I've played that a couple times, like that course. Yeah,
I like a good link style because you can't lose the ball, right? You just play it off the other fairway.
Yeah, less trees, which is good for some people.
I would be.
Short game can get tricky though. On the short game can get a little tricky. It can enhance your short game or require more short game. So you might have to chip and putt a little bit more. But yeah.
You know what they say: drive for dough, putt for show. Famous golf saying.
I think you got that backwards.
No, I got you. It's all about the drives.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
I think it's all about the drives. That's what really matters.
I don't think anybody's going to golf course to go, let me watch this guy putt, man. I'm gonna pay to see this.
I know you want to see the long drive. I'm afraid our boy JT Poston is not high up on the leaderboard here at TPC Sawgrass, but Justin Thomas has had a pretty solid round. I think it's only his second tournament back. He's through 9, 1 under today at 5 under. Ludwig Olberg is tied for the lead with Xander at 10 under. Cameron Young,
good day, I saw, yeah,
is third at 9 under. Sawgrass, always fun. That's a nice. If the games aren't going well, flip it on and to see how things are going. I also was treated to. This is great for a time of year when the quad box on the YouTube TV, you don't know which one is going to show up, right? Like. One game ends, and it's the A10 tournament on USA Network, and then you've got Law & Order SVU is all of a sudden on in the corner. After the Big East tournament last night, they had Live Golf in Singapore happening. It was like, oh, this is a nice kind of way to kind of drift off to sleep in the middle of the night. So that was exciting. We've also got hit me.
Speaking of alternate viewing options, or even if you're looking for something to do around Lexington, Kentucky starts a 3-game series with Alabama tonight.
There you go.
First pitch is at 6:30, 2 p.m. Saturday, 1 p.m. Sunday. So you could even go out there and you have plenty of time to get home for the selection show on Sunday. Big series for Kentucky.
Great weather.
Alabama's got their shortstop, Justin LeBron's going to be a first-round pick. So it's 2 first-round picks. Each team's got a first-round pick. Each team's been pitching the ball well. It's a good kind of measuring stick, I think, for both teams. For Kentucky, it's a home series. It's one you want to win. They're playing good ball right now. So that's a big home series. SEC play starts now. And this is their last home. They're not home again for a weekend series until April 3rd, April 4th. So it'll be a little bit. So big series. They'll be on ESPN Plus. We have the links over at KSR. So check that out. But a big series for the baseball team. They've got a chance to make some noise, I think, here in conference play. And this will be a good kind of – these next few weeks will really show us where they're at.
It's also busy because Will Stein opened up spring practice this week. And something we're not used to, Jacob, is big-time recruits coming to campus for the spring practices. They always had kids coming in, but it wasn't of this magnitude. And they got the ball rolling yesterday with a commitment. And who knows, maybe even more.
Yeah, I mean, they're swinging for the fences with some of these guys, but they're also going for some realistic targets, locking down some guys that really like the program, and then it allows you to kind of go figure out the quarterback situation, which they're hosting, it feels like, a million different quarterbacks on campus, and lock in some official visits. I know they had, was it a top 100 player in the entire country on campus just yesterday? So they're getting some –
Ishmael Kamara.
Yeah,
was that's big name offensive lineman. LaMarcus Jones too. That's one that I've kind of gotten my crosshairs. Feels like
per Wilfong.
Yeah, but also a lot of quarterbacks. They had Andre Adams on earlier this week. You talked to him, Jacob. Izzy Abrams and Jake Narrott are top 5 quarterbacks. They're in this weekend. So a lot of big names. They got the commitment from Ty Ashley, who. The Owensboro linebacker, that I was talking to some people down there, and they were worried that he might get away from Kentucky. Notre Dame offered him, but ultimately, huge Kentucky fan, commits to the Cats, and his dad was All-American offensive lineman at Western, Buster. Which what you don't Buster Ashley, like, you don't mess with a Buster. He'll bust you up. He'll bust you up big time. But we also, there's some other spring practice stuff. Like we'll have time next week to go more in depth detail on 11 personnel. But it's good hearing from those guys. Like Will Stein, he's big into technology. The quarterbacks are wearing GoPros. We get to hear from Kenny Minchie. You talked with Bateman today, so
we'll have that up later. Bateman was very open today. It was different. Most coaches aren't willing to talk about individual players. He was willing to do that. Even talked about positions. Some are worries of his, whatnot. So a very open press conference from a defensive coordinator.
Was he worried about corner?
He said one of my biggest worries starting spring practice was cornerback, and I feel better about it after a few practices. So very open. That was different, but it's also going to be different because we're not going to get them after this, right?
Yeah.
I think media day, maybe. But during the season, it's going to be all Stein. So just everything is different here moving forward. And so that's going to be one of the big differences, just how they're rolling everyone out this spring. Like, they're just rolling out every coach during practice. So it's different time now.
We'll have plenty of coverage throughout, but you don't want to hear about football right now. You're locked into basketball mode. You're locked into madness. It's been a mad world here on the KSR Happy Hour. We got to go crack open a couple more cold ones because it's Friday. The Cats lost, and we are dehydrated. But don't go anywhere. The KSR Rapid Reaction, it's coming up next. You got the KSR postgame show. It's content coming out of our earballs, all right? So don't go anywhere. Have a happy March. Go Cats and go Crows.